Right, we got that. And we have chat opened up too for folks. Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Barb. You're here. You're here in spirit, and name is on. So as long as people are jumping in, can you in chat let me know where you're calling from? That would be wonderful just to get a sense, because I know we've got an international community here. Cleveland, to Ohio, Dayton, Santa Cruz, Las Vegas, NE, Australia, New Zealand, fabulous, Slovenia, Oregon, Bay Area. That's where I am. UK, Campbell, San Francisco Bay Area. Yeah, well, we should go out to dinner or lunch or coffee chat sometimes. It's like all these virtual coffee chats. Durango, Colorado, Maryland, NYC, Ontario, Canada. This is fabulous, just fabulous to be able to share my work with people around the world, around the country, and to invite you into this community today. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for showing up. I want to start by looking at the title that I came up with, and it's Find Your Voice, which is my brand. I've had that since I wrote my book in 2009. And it's Find Your Voice and Speak with Confidence. And then I wrote 3 secrets to embracing your true self. So if you're here because you want presentation skills, that's probably not what I'm going to be doing, because I'm a psychologist, kind of a spiritual psychologist that loves the inner journey, the inner depth, because I truly believe that speaking comes from a depth. When you're really confident, that's where it comes from. And performance techniques, yeah, they're good. I went to Toastmasters. I know how to do vocal variety, but what I've always been much more working for is seeing what the potential is inside of you and going, hello in there, come on out and play. And that's your voice. That's a lot of people are talking about superpower today, and I would say that is where I think your superpower is in your essence. But how to get there? So first of all, I see most of you on screens right now. I'm going to ask, because there's 2 processes. One is the journey to find your voice. I've done that, and we're going to be talking about that today. But also there's the expressing it and feeling the confidence. So if you could just nod your head or go like this, if you feel like you're still on this journey to find your voice, raise your hand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, sweet. Great. What about now, if you feel like, oh, I know how to get back to that inner core of me, and I feel my confidence. I just want to be more confident. And that could be true it could be true for the inner and the outer work. But raise your hand if you feel like, I know, okay, good. Just need more confidence to get my out there. Well, whether you feel what is it, the be timid, or whether you feel like you're terrified, timid or terrified, whether you feel a trepidation or whether you feel like real anxiety. I feel like even if you're got a little bit of anxiety, that still means there is fear. And that's what today is about, is what blocks us from being more fully, well, I was going to say who we're meant to be, but who we already are and who we're growing ourselves into. It seems like every single day we have opportunities to do that. So my vision, and how some of you have worked with me know that how I conduct my programs, my master classes, is that I first like to set a safe environment. I call it a inspired learning environment. And yes, I have some things I want to share, but it's important that you also have a voice. You get to practice, and one of the ways you get to practice is by chat. Since the smaller groups I do, I could do interactive, and I do those in my 12-week group coaching program. It's usually a smaller group, and I do a lot of coaching right there, and I can't do that today. So chat's going to be our way of you practicing using your voice. And already people are starting to talk about it. I lost my confidence somewhere. Uh, and oh, good. My friends, my assistants are starting to respond. That would be good because I am pretty committed to being with you, and I would also like to be listening to the chat. There's a lot to do here today. But so in terms of coming back to how I plan to do the masterclass, it's not about presentation skills like look at your audience as if they don't have any clothes on. Who here feels like you're the one who doesn't have any clothes on when you're standing up in front of a large group? So yeah, I saw some hands go up. Thank you. Thank you. This is one way to interact. Usually I do small groups. This is larger than I'm usually doing. So it's kind of fun to see how this can be rich and meaningful and deep for people who are gathered on, first of all, Zoom and not in my office, but also so many of you. So this is wonderful to be able to get this opportunity to touch each other's hearts in the best way I can. And also you'll be, if you want to look at the chat, you can see what other people are starting to share there, because this is what it's about. You have a voice. We want you to show up and feel brave, feel courageous to express yourself. And I always say anytime, anywhere, which also includes chat. Isn't it true? So to get the most out of what we're going to do today, it already looks like most of you are it seems like you're in a quiet place. You don't have distractions. You may have a pen and a notebook or some note paper. So perhaps there'll be some ways in which you get an aha, and you want to remember that. Also, because my work is about a journey, an inner journey, I'm going to ask that you allow yourself to stay open to discovery, that you get to have your own ahas and make sure you're thinking and feeling and inquiring and staying curious and compassionate. And that has something to do with the listening that I'm going to ask you to do, a new kind of listening today. I see Kimberly's nodding her head because she knows about me and she knows about this deeper kind of listening that I think is really important that we can bring to everything and to ourselves, of course, but to each other. The kind of permission I feel like we need in order to have safe environments. And that's the first step, I think, is feeling like you have a group of people like we have today that I'm facilitating, that you are safe to be, to express, to explore, to feel, to emote out loud in front of people. And the work that I do is more about finding the essence of who you are, the deep, beautiful, bold, brilliant, there's so many wonderful words, fascinating essence that in the work that I do is fully appreciated, because I think that focusing on that aspect of you is what we want to grow. So yeah, there are programs that say don't stand a certain way or make sure you do a certain kind of gesture, pause, the power of the pause. But we're looking at how to be more naturally you, because that's where the power is. But how do you get through the blocks? And that's what I'll be talking about today. Let's see. It's about dread, right? I called out dread of public. I didn't say public speaking, actually. I said speaking up in public, because it's not just a stage where you get a microphone and you are, in front of 100 people. It's even at a small group meeting with maybe 10 people. And they're going around the room and you're going to be introducing just yourself, your name. And think about it. And you could raise your hand here or say yes in the chat. Do you feel nervous? And I'm going to look at the chat because I want to see who would say yes to that, because that was my experience. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Click, 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 click. It's going to be me. My heart starts to beat faster. And if you've had this experience, you know what I'm talking about. But my heart beats so loud, it feels like a drum. And then my head feels like the words are knocked out completely because of the sound of my the sound of my heart beating in my head. How is that? How does that, how does our body do that to us? And I know that the people I've worked with have said it feels like they're hijacked. And if that's something that you're experience, you're hijacked by your fear. Is that something that happens, that kind of sense of being overwhelmed and you can't control it, and it's happening to your body, and then your mind is saying, come on, just calm down, it's no big deal, everybody's here, I should focus on them. But your body is betraying you, and that's a deeper kind of experience that I think why this inner work is so important, to get to the root cause of why the body does that and how to release the kind of fear, how to come back to presence, how to come back to stillness, how to come back to this very here now. So today I am leading you on this inner journey, and I thought about calling myself a guide because I think that's what I am. And then I thought, well, I've been doing this work for 40 years. I've been a clinical psychologist for that long, and I've been with people who are doing this self-discovery and want to grow, want to be more of who they can be. But then I also thought, I'm a big sister. I've been doing this for closer to 70 years, guiding little ones out into the world and helping them, holding their hand. And, I know that a lot of people say, I've got your back, but I feel like I say that I've got your hand, and I could walk through that zone of fear with you and hold your hand until we make it to where the truth is inside of you, whatever that might be, and even further to the essence of who you are, where you're, like I keep saying, you'll hear me say this over and over today, where your true power is. So, where are we with time? You can tell how happy I am. I'm happy you're here. I'm happy I get to do this. And I'm happy I get to live in Northern California, where just outside my window here, I have an old growth redwood forest. I get to walk in it every single day. Just that smell. And on the other side, I mean, he's not here right now, but the other side of the wall is my husband that I've been married to not that long. We got married, and it was my first time when I was 60. And I have to tell you that I think it had something to do with me learning to find my voice, but it was also learning how to receive and hear. Because, when you have blocks, you can't let something in, but you also can't let something out, which is your heart. I love you. I love you. I love you. It was so hard to say. It was so hard to say. But again, I'm happy to have the kind of life I have. I've been training director of an international organization that I helped develop, and I've got to travel to Europe many times, and I led a retreat in Hawaii. And two more things. I'm an author and a podcast host, but you could tell how happy I am, but it's hard to think back, but it wasn't always this way. And I got a PhD at the University of California, and I could say it was a way that I hid. Think back on what you do currently or any of your history. Do you feel like there's some professional image that you have that right behind that image that you're shielding the rest of the world from seeing is an inner little fear, a precious one that doesn't want to come out yet? So here I had my PhD. I was sitting in my office every day with people with fear. So, and I told you about what it's like to go around a circle and introduce yourself. And that was with other clinical psychologists where we had to give our presentations on cases. And I just felt like, oh, I'm such a fraud. I can't, I just would white knuckle it through those meetings, but we can avoid. And, I'm an intro, not, but I am an introvert. I would say I'm somebody who's a quieter nature. And I got the PhD because I love to listen. It wasn't about speaking. So this whole idea of hiding came at one time when a conference organizer asked me to speak up about dysfunctional families and children of dysfunctional families. Here, who's come from a dysfunctional family? Yeah, yeah, dysfunctional family, children. We're children that made it. Yay us. Yay us. And but I said I can't. I'm too scared. I can't speak in public. Not me. And the organizer was shocked. And the look on her eyes, in her eyes, is just kind of like, what? I can't imitate it, but I can remember the feeling of it, kind of like, oh dear, I just got exposed. Ay. And she said, "Doctor isn't fear your business," was that phrase that, like, oh yeah. But that was the beginning of a journey to find my voice, and I could tell you all the steps I took, step by step, but basically Toastmasters, which didn't quite go deep enough for me. Yeah, I won contests and I know how to do speeches, but it was called Speaking Circles, a program designed or originated by Lee Glickstein, who was a comedian and found this process of surrounding himself with friends who would applaud and look only at how good he was, that he then brought out into the world. And that was the beginning for me to find my voice. And in that process that he had designed, I felt like this is where people get exposed, but in a safe environment. And I became training director of that program in 1997, late 2000, early 2000s there. And I traveled around the world. And Lee, this is the moment where I knew I was finally, knew how to do this thing called come back to yourself in the middle of fear. And he gave me the microphone and we were doing a conference for stutterers. And he said, here, Doreen, here's your, say something. Nothing prepared, nothing to say something. He handed me the microphone. Ooh, I looked around, but I did something that I had been learning, which I want to tell you right now. And it's harder to do on Zoom, but I'm looking into your eyes. I should be doing this because then you think I'm looking into your eyes. But for me, that's what I did. I found a pair of eyes in the audience glittering, it's just like warmth. That's the trick when you're in front of a group. And besides, as a psychologist with in my office with one person, I could do that. And all I had to do was find one person here in front of me and say, "Oh, hello. I know how to do this one person at a time thing, as long as I don't go like, so many people." I just have to keep coming back to one person at a time. So to bring this back to you, then I hope that was the beginning of a learning for you. If you've learned it, you can write it down and or put it in a chat saying, yes, that's yeah, somebody said, wow, what a learning moment, Dr. Doreen. Thank you. It's powerful to look into someone's eyes, one person at a time. And my whole 3-month coaching program, that's part of a whole section we work on is eye availability. I don't call it eye contact, I call it eye presence, because my work is about coming into the now and being present. How do you do that with eyes, with people who are looking at you? Um, I'm going to start my slideshow now, but if there's any other comments in the chat? It's it's going to be about the dread of speaking up in public. And love that. Finding one person to focus will help with the fear. Oh, yes. How about the people visually impaired? Oh, that's a great question. I've worked with people who have come to my programs who are blind, believe it or not. And there's a sense, that a presence that we work on and a feeling that there is somebody in front of you and you do it. You don't just go like this. You don't just scan around because nobody feels listened to. That's another trick, you guys. I hadn't meant to tell you so many tricks, but I might as well since we're here and they're coming up for me, is you become the biggest listener in the room. We're thinking about speaking. How about, you stop to listen to people. And this idea about visual impairment is that you're taking in somebody's energy in the room, one person at a time. So I'd like to get to the slideshow so you could see what I've designed for you today. Yeah, dread, speaking up in public. And one of the notes I have here for you is that I don't consider the stage as the only place where you speak in public. I think it's even just one person at a time. You've already heard me talk about a group of people. This is kind of radical, but I think, and in my book I talk about it, but I think that what we say to ourselves, the self-talk, is public speaking. It's the public speaking to us, right? We grew up, we came out, and there wasn't usually a sense of fear because we were just goo-goo and gaga-ing around, but somewhere along the line we introjected, we took in voices. And those voices, think about it. Think about it. Are those the voices you hear today? And I'll get to a slide in a minute where you can share some of those voices after a slide. Find your voice. Some of you know I do a podcast, the Find Your Voice, Change Your Life podcast. I've done 130 episodes. So I've worked with a lot of people who have suffered through life, sometimes choked by the corporation, sometimes it's abuse, sometimes it's one person that just was on recently was in a cult and wasn't able to, of course, be able to be herself. And it was finally when she broke out of it, that's when she had to go find what was truly her voice. But somebody on my podcast, his name is Peleg Top. when I started my interview with him, and I said, well, tell me about where you lost your voice. And he goes, my voice was never lost. I just forgot it. Isn't that amazing? I went, oh, yeah. But even if it's lost, we still have to go find it, right? So if I waved a magic wand right now with all of you and you had like fully found the voice that feels like is your most centered, confident self, write in the chat, please, what that would be. Is it like freedom? Is it confidence? I'm going to have to go back to Zoom to get my chat up. Sorry, because I really want to be watching you guys. Yeah, let's see if I go back to my slideshow now. Well, I can't see the chat, so Tamara and Kimberly, if you could keep them engaged for me, I would love that. Because or just speak up, or Tamara or Kimberly, if you see something and want to just say it out loud, share it. That's fine with me.
Sure. We have connection, freedom, clarity.
Oh, clarity.
Confidence,
Yeah.
power, confidence, confidence, confidence. About those.
I'll be talking about that because remember, confidence is just a word, but in my work, it's a feeling, it's a sensation, it's an embodied experience. So let's go on. Speaking of confidence, I'd like you in your chat to see what this brings up for you. What does it bring up any kind of nervousness, some kind of failure in the past, some kind of trauma?
Doreen, we're not seeing your slides yet. I just wanted to let you know.
Okay. Thank you. There it is. You see it. Oh, then there's my chat. Good. Good. I get to see you guys. All right. So now we've got what I had before was Find Your Voice slide. Did you guys get to see that or not? No?
No, we didn't see any slides on
That one. That's the one. That's where I was kind of riffing on finding your voice. And this one is about, well, what gets in the way? Can you, in the chat, is it nerves? Is it some kind of, like I said, some kind of memory? Today, I was working with somebody. Oh, this is a good one. I find that people seem to feel the need to disagree with me. Oh, oh well, we'll talk. We can talk about that one. But today I was working with somebody privately, and she talked about a birthday party. And she remembers this is when she lost her voice and when she became afraid. Everybody was singing to her, all her little friends. I think it was like, she said it was like fifth grade or something. And she has the memory of running away and hiding under a table. And that's the feel that she still has in her body today. And I talked about me hiding with having a PhD, I was hiding behind some kind of professional degree. But the hiding, I think, is what is the problem here. And we want to help you. I want to help you come out of whatever way in which you might be hiding. So, again, if we could get any more people saying what this experience of, so let me put it this way. If I just said, okay, I'm going to give you the microphone right now. You're going to be the center of attention. How would you feel? Write that in the chat. Not prepared enough. Fear of being seen and misunderstood. Resistance. Shy. Ooh, shy is a good one. Scared. I would run away. Yeah, like my client did today. Scared, nervous. Ooh, yeah, I can relate. Thank you. Thank you for your comments, you guys. This is wonderful. Scared that I don't know the topic enough to express myself. Yeah. I have to tell you, I had some nerves before coming on today. Even though I've done programs, years of programs, something was different about it because I knew there were going to be a lot of people today, unlike my small, intimate groups. But so I'm really pleased that I get to feel so connected to you guys and so intimate. Everybody knows more than me. I'm going to go to this one. Think about this. Do you feel like this has ever happened to you? Like somebody has said, be quiet, or no, don't speak up. I have a quick story about being 5 years old and living with my grandma because my mother was in and out of the hospital, and she had severe depression. And when she came back, my grandma would tell my sister and me to, I'll do this if you could see me. You might not be able to see me, but I'm putting my hand over my mouth going, shh. And it was just like this experience, be quiet. And the be quiet was, or else your mother's going to go to the hospital. So that's an early kind of root. And that's what I do in my work, is get at the root of anxiety. What happened that you feel like you can't express yourself? It happened to me after being laid off as a CEO. Yes, went through burnout, but I think the roots are in childhood. Yeah, that's true. I would say that because I'm a psychologist. Of course, I would say that. So the work, as you already have heard me say so much about today, is it's an inside job. And I would say that's kind of the good news, is that when people come to me, they're always a puzzle. And I love finding out all the layers. And somebody else had talked about being, the Russian doll image, and she felt like she was the one, the small one, way down deep inside. And our work then, of course, is to help her come out and not be encased in all the other layers. But it's an inside job. I'm going to share 3 secrets today, and let's get right to it. Because I'm heart-centered, and that's what I'm calling out, are people who feel and relate to being somebody who's heart-centered. That to me is what I want to bring out into the world. More people with hearts. So today, I said we're going to be working with fear. So it's about facing the fear. It's about embracing the fear, and replacing the fear. And I give this model, the face, embrace, replace, credit to Billy Atwell. And my very first podcast was on his, and it was called the Fear Not Podcast. Fear Not was his podcast, Billy Atwell. So thank you, Billy. This I think it really works for me. So face, I want you to just look at that for a second and consider what that means for you before I go on here. Take a big breath. I just took a breath. I've been kind of rolling along without taking my breaths. Why is it so hard to look at fear? That's a question, and ask yourself that, and put some of your answers in the chat, please. Why is it so hard to look at fear? We avoid, there's yeah, you're right. It's hard to look because it hides. That's a great question. Don't have the models. You're right. Easier to be angry, face. I need to be brave, good, the best. Yes. Because we're shamed. Yeah, we're shamed for having it. It's painful, it's scary. Think the worst will happen. And I think that one, think the worst will happen, is partly what it goes into the mindset, the believing that it will. And we often, when we're practicing, we practice rehearsing, but we see the worst thing going to happen, and that's like rehearsing a disaster. So I want you to begin to think about this a little bit more about this. Why is it so hard to face fear? Because this is the reason why we need to begin to change our thoughts about it, because the fears you don't face become your limits. The fears you don't face become your limits. In the chat again, write out what you would want to say. What can you say to your fear? What do you want to say to your fear? Back off. Yeah, F off. You are not real. Uh-huh. You have no right to hold power. Yeah, fear holds your power. I always say that on the other side of fear is your power. You're not my boss. I've got this. Now, shh. Yeah, you can tell them to shush. You're right. Time to let love in. Ooh, that's so beautiful. Hard when you get stuck. Yeah, when you get stuck in flight or freeze. I know you're trying to protect yourself, and fear has no control over me. Thanks for trying to protect me. I like some of these, and we'll get to that in a minute about the kind message. But both are really important. Whatever it takes to like put fear on the other side and not have it invade your body, and kind of like the body snatchers. So somebody just said evidence. And there is that phrase, the fear, an acronym, false evidence appearing real. How about this one? I like this one because it's more positive, and it really shows you what's possible, and what the whole point is that if we face it, we can rise. So some of you already, thank you, loving that, huh? Some of you have already started this. Jayla, you said, thanks for trying to protect me. And this embracing of the little one who, if we do this, imagine, can you for a minute in this new way of being with fear, hold it, see all these wonderful words, trust, receive, cherish, welcome, accompany, release, befriend, embrace, cherish, thank. Yeah, I love this image too. In fact, I told my assistant, please, can you make it clearer? It was all blurry. I said, this is my favorite in the whole slideshow. Can you please make it clearer? So the whole idea, yes, is to be holding your own fear, because he is a part of you. Something happened, and that's what my work is, to help go back to what happened and heal whatever did happen. Yeah, it's my favorite slide too. So this little one peeking out, some of you have already started to go here. What would I do inner child work because that's who suffered most likely. I mean, some of you didn't get assaulted until you were in corporation. I had somebody who had that very story, who said after she spoke up in a meeting, the boss called her into his office and said, "We don't say that here," whatever it was that she had said in the meeting. So now, what can you say? What can you say? When you think about it being more of a little one, a little tender, precious part of yourself that got left behind. We call it abandoned parts, or exiled parts is another thing I talk about in psychology. Thanks for trying to protect me. What do you need now to heal? Probably it would say, I need you to come give me a hug. I need you to stay close to me. I need you to just just like any child, right? If any of you have children, you know it's just like that hug that it's going to be okay, the reassurance. What else? Please write it into the chat because this is an important one. Take my hand. That's a good one, Nancy. Thank you. Take my hand. It's kind of what I said earlier is I like to take people's hands on that inner journey so that they feel like they can move through fear. And, some of you may be feeling a little emotional right now, and that's good because it's deep work to tap into your hurt and your pain. And it's okay. Once we conquer this, it will be easier the next time. Thank you, but I don't need you to protect me. Yes, you are loved and supported. Here's another good slide. Replace, right? That's what we're talking about now. This is a piece of art that I did, and I found Brene Brown's quote, authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. I would probably say embracing who we truly are, because that's my work. That was in the title, Embracing Your True Self. But I so respect and honor Brene Brown, one of my mentors. So if you now could put in the chat, please, what this brings up for you. We're talking about replacing fear, right? And the jewel. I see that in all of you, there's a jewel. That when somebody sits in front of me, I see that. And when I'm in front of a whole group of people, I see the jewel. I don't see the negativity anymore. I've learned how to refocus myself on the inner essence of every human being that's out there. So today, if you could put in the chat, what jewel would you pick? I know this is a huge diamond, but maybe you're an emerald, or maybe you're turquoise. And so if you could put in the chat, what jewel would you pick to represent your essence and why? Aquamarine. Nice. Multifaceted, shiny. Ruby. Yeah. Bright red. I like that one. Sapphire. And you could be somebody else's too. I like all of them. I like to have a whole treasure chest inside of me, because that's one of the things that they say about fear, is that right on the other side of fear is your treasure chest. So that's another way to rethink what fear is all about. Slightly flawed. That's wonderful. Yeah, they get it's all sorts of facets to a jewel. Turquoise. Oh, it isn't a gem, but I like it because it represents me. Nice. I lost myself so long ago. I don't even know how to answer this. Oh, well, we hear you, we know you, we love you, and it is inside. We know it is, because one of the things about having a radiance inside, so if you can think of this, the person who just said that, is that you are radiating. And I bet if you came into my room, I would see your radiance, your essence. And that's part of the gift that I do when I work with people, is I get to see it, and they begin to believe it because I can see it. Yeah, on the other side of fear. Thanks, Tamara. So we're talking about whether you do or whether you don't, it's true, right? so that believe in yourself. And that's what we're talking about today is you can't just tell somebody to be you. I never say just go out and be yourself, because you've got way too much, well, at least the people I work with, they have way too much fear going on. So we have to go through a journey. We have to do the facing, we have to do the embracing before we could even do the replacing, right? So, but when you do have yourself back to center, this is the sense of, and you might, if you could put in what this image brings up for you. You can take deeper risks. You can stretch your arms out. And that's actually what I did with my client this morning. I had her hold her hands out and stand in front of all those kids clapping at her birthday party. We did a visualization so she could go back in time and stand there and feel like that she can recreate her past, heal her past by what she can do here today. My husband, I went through the slides last night with my husband, Earl, and when he got to this one, he said, wow, this is like surfing, spectacular, spontaneous. He's an English major, so he loves words, and I thought I wanted to share that with you. Spectacular and spontaneous. I'm going to just share two people. I've already talked a little bit about some of my clients. Amanda is, this is the greatest quote anybody could get, right? That nothing has worked except for working with me. But she meant it. She truly meant it. Amanda was not a CEO, but a manager in a company, and she was afraid. She would overwork at nights because the work needed to be done, and she was too afraid to tell the people that worked for her, of all things, that she wanted them to do. So delegation was a big problem for her, but finding her sense of strength and her power and her authority, she was able to become probably for them a much easier person, because if you're overworked and overtired, you're going to be cranky the next day as a manager. And Hashi, I fall in love with people I work with. So just seeing Hashi's face right now is something that delights me so much. Guess what? She's an attorney. And she came to me because she was afraid to go to court and speak up to the judge and to a jury, of all things, right? I mean, it's like me going through psychology program and hiding fear. And so that what we did was to help her center and ground so that when she was standing, she could feel her feet on the ground, right? And she could come back to center, and she could feel her voice rising up rather than from notes, rising up from her core strength, her jewel, her essence inside. And if you go to my website, you'll see a video of what she had said about me. So we're coming to the end, and I just wanted to have this slide again about the heart. Be amazing. It's a good message. Take a big breath together today. All of you have been here with me, and I think when you do the journey of finding yourself, finding your voice, that is truly where you can be you. You can be you at work. You can be you on a stage. Really, why is all a group of people so much more anxiety provoking? But some of you have anxiety just with one person. Some of you have anxiety about speaking up to your partner, intimate. And I always like to say, from the boardroom to the bedroom, from the boardroom to the bedroom, your inner voice is your most powerful asset. So before we go, I'd like you to write down for yourself in your own notebook, and if you want to share it in the chat, go ahead. But do you have something to say? Who do you want to say it to? What do you want to say it? When, where, and why? That's a lot to put in the chat, but if you want to put in any one of those, that would be good. And in your notebook, make sure and put this down to come back and do a little process with yourself and make a commitment. That's all I'm asking you today, is to take that one step. Well, it's not quite all I'm asking of you today, because I'm going to ask you to join me for a free complimentary one-on-one session, but I'm not quite there yet. Right now, I do want to ask you to make a commitment to use your voice in some way, somehow, today or tomorrow, because the win may be this weekend, but don't put it off too long, because it's better to find the courage to step into a difficult situation. Anybody have a specific who, what, when, where, or why that you could put in the chat? Like, who do you have something you need to say to? What is it that you might want to say? My why is to help build my business and put myself out there so more people know about us. Thank you. And that's why it's so important for you to find your gem, my dear, and know that you radiate. Speak to children who have been bullied about how to stop the bullying and to help them heal and love themselves. Yes, yes. I need to tell all of my family that I need time for myself and for my business after taking care of them for so long and accommodating to them. And Tamara, speak to change makers who are ready to help humanity transform. And Susmita, I have not worked facing my fears as much, and that is what I need to talk with a friend. Ooh. These are wonderful, and I'm sure that you're writing them down in your notebook, because again, as I said, this has been an inner journey. But to recap for today, we've looked at what facing the fear, embracing the fear, and replacing the fear. Those are the 3 secrets that I wanted to start you beginning to think about the inner journey of finding your voice. And today I'd like to ask if you would please put in the chat a takeaway. One takeaway, a something that resonated. I know that my first class that I took in overcoming my fear of speaking, the teacher talked about Michelangelo, and he said that Michelangelo saw the angel in the marble and he chiseled until he set it free. And that spoke to me. I said, oh, that's what happened. I got all this PhD over me. They call it piled higher, deeper PhD. And so my angel was locked inside. It's kind of like the Russian doll that the woman that I worked with talked about. It's about finding the freedom to be yourself, no matter what. And the people that have worked with me, I would say that they do come to events, they show up and speak where they used to avoid. I think that's huge. And they get to be more clear because they're connected. They're connected to their message, and their message usually is coming from their heart, not their head. And then the third thing that I found that people who've worked with me get is they feel like they're not so afraid of, they don't have the dread. They don't have the dread that they're gonna be hijacked, as I said earlier, by the fear. They're gonna lose their train of thought. They're gonna, not know where they are. They're gonna go blank. That doesn't happen because they know how to come back right here, right now, and say, oh, hello, because it's all about presence and connection. And that's what my work is about. And if you would like to do a session with me, it's called Speak Up Now, and it's a free complimentary session. And if you get your phones out and you want to just take a picture and scan the code, I know that Tamara and Kimberly put the link, speakupnow.today is the actual kind of URL that you can go to. But if you do book this session, I plan to identify your biggest challenges with you. And yeah, that's what we do together. Envision your bold and brilliant, your beautiful future self. And we get to design a path toward whatever it is that we can envision, which is the best part. And I'm going to put up a slide which does both. Gives you you can take a picture and do the QR code, or take a picture, speak up now today. I went to my calendar, so I've got, I think, 3 slots open today where you could jump on, and then tomorrow I've got a few, and Friday I think I opened up a 2 or 3 on Friday. So I would love to take a next step with you. If you want to work with me all the way, I've got a 12-week program. I'll be starting in April, and it's a coaching program. We meet weekly, and I can tell you more about that in the Speak Up Now today. But first, it's just the first step, which is what I took when I drove across San Francisco Bay Bridge to go to my first class on overcoming the fear of public speaking. And again, I had the PhD, and here I am sitting in a class terrified along with everybody else. So if I'm leaving this up just for a second, make sure and write it down, take a picture, and book in right away, because I'd love to have another step with anybody who's been touched by what we've been doing today. And I'm getting some thank yous. If you could put in anything else, I didn't leave much time because it's getting near the end, to have you write your takeaway. That's important also, to anchor in a learning. It's in the learning that you go forward, right? If there's a tiny little change, a shift in the way that you have today viewed your own process, your own fear, I'm really happy to have been part of that for you, because you're on a path. You're on a path to more. There's potential. And I love helping people manifest what's inside and to bring out more fear. Everything in rise. Thank you. Powerful. Thank you. Powerful. Thank you, Alice. Thank you. Thank you. This was very helpful, insightful. Thank you. Thank you. A lot of thank yous. Thank you back. But make sure you write in, if you can, your insight, something that you go yes to for yourself. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear your jewel, your compassion, your love for yourself. And here we go, right? This is how I feel. I feel happy to be here with you. I feel happy you were able to come on board. My voice was never lost. I just forgot it. Yeah, I was glad I remembered that. Yeah. Like what I said about the fears we don't face become our limits. Yes. Boy, it's quotes are good, aren't they? It's the application of the new knowledge we've received that the true power lies. So let's be sure to take action on our ahas and takeaways. Thank you, Angie. Thank you so much, Doreen. Yes, take action. And that's what that other slide was about. Here I am back. Am I back, Tamara? And if anybody wants to stay and hang out, I can do that. But we are right up at the dot of the hour, and I'm going to hop off. I have another call. All right. Thank you. Really appreciate the energy that you brought today, everybody, with your comments. Thank you so much. And for engaging with me. And I see some people nodding their head. Thank you so much. Do I say Mateja? Is that how I say your name? Mateja. Yeah. And Susmita, you're going to be on a podcast with me soon. Thank you. And Angie and I are in a group together. And Nancy, I could have asked you to do yeah, asked to unmute. I'm going to ask you to unmute and just say hello to the folks. Just give your
Well,
voice.
Doreen, if I may say, I am so sorry. You were the only one that would come to my talk and I canceled it.
Yes.
I am sorry for that. And you see, I was not embracing my fear because I was not ready. I was not prepared. And
Yeah.
but I'm still thankful for you because you wanted to be a part of it, because you wanted to support me. Thanks.
Yeah. 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 You're welcome. Yeah. Janet, you're new to me. Hello. And what did you get out of today?
I think like don't be scared to express myself because I have a voice.
Mhm. Yeah, it's okay to be afraid. It's just how you handle that fear, right? How you actually, how you embrace yourself and say, it's okay, it's okay. Thank you for sharing. Sep, hi.
Hi,
Sep's done some work with me, some private work. How are you today?
awesome. Well, what I'm getting out of it is the awareness that I have some unknown fears. They keep me from being aware of what I'm really needing.
Mm,
When I'm more aware of what I'm needing, it makes it easy to be aware of others needing. And
mm.
that's what being heard now means.
Oh, I love that phrase. Be heard now, you guys. Lee Glickstein coined that. And in order to be heard now, you have to be here now. I didn't get to say that earlier, but you guys get it.
And this happened to me one time when I was in a speaking circle with Lee. And I just I was talking about something, and all of a sudden had a complete block.
Uh-huh.
Then I remember to just look around, to just
Yeah.
connect with the
Yeah.
people, and everybody looked kind of, serious until I got to Lee, and Lee just had this big smile,
Oh,
and that I felt this empathy, and it what he knew what I needed to let go of my fear. And
yeah.
when I was able to do that, then it came out what I needed to say.
Oh, that's beautiful. And that, I think, helps the rest of us remember how we listen to people is so important.
Yes.
That we allow them to be themselves by the way we listen to them. If we listen deeply with a lot of compassion and gentle acceptance for who they are, truly, it's I think listening is transformative.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
I think you made several points again in that direction.
Yeah,
That's a key.
maybe a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And let's see. Angie, you wrote a really wonderful comment. You want to share what, are you able to?
Yeah, actually, I need to hop off. I have another thing at 2, and I just realized it.
Okay, hop off. Thank you for
Thank you so much.
participating. Bye, Angie. And Glow Ann, I don't know you, so if you want to say anything, ask to unmute. And then I've got Olamite. So they may not be on. So thank you guys. This is the end of our time together. Appreciate you and best. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yes.